Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
We're live on a Thursday evening, first time in a minute.
A week.
Probably the last time in a minute too. No, we were Wednesday last week.
I know, we weren't on Thursday.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So yeah.
We were.
Exactly. So
I mean, whatever, it counts.
So. Yeah, it's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything is fine. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how we doing?
Oh, I am just finer than frogs here. How about yourself, sir?
You know, not too bad. I've had a couple of days of just shop work and such things like that because we get some rain. And tomorrow I might actually have to go back to real work. So, yeah, that's what it is.
That's fair. I have not had that. I've been doing real work.
I saw you had it flat and everything.
Oh yeah. Now we had all sorts of stuff going on today, and nothing like getting a flat tire right as you're about to quit, and then finding out there are no spares.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. So we just got limped to an approach, and that is now a Monday problem.
Yeah, why fix things today when it could be future use problem?
Exactly. That is a problem for future me.
Yep. And come Monday, I'm gonna get a text message. I hate Thursday, Nick.
Oh, it wasn't my idea. It was not my idea to leave it. So
okay, fair enough.
That is not my issue.
Yeah, well then, totally fine.
Nope. So I got to have a last weekend. I had a lot of fun. I know that we recorded a night early, which threw some people off. Thomas, looking at you. And I had a lot of fun last weekend because I went to Wisconsin, to beautiful Fort McCoy.
So beautiful.
Yes.
Never been.
It's nothing but mosquitoes and World War II barracks. It's amazing. The planned power outage they forgot to inform us all about was amazing. And on Thursday evening, when at 11 o'clock, all of the emergency lighting kicked on with their buzzers and beepers.
I bet that was awesome.
Yeah, and that stayed on until 4 a.m.
Yeah, we'd have some words for people.
Yeah, it was like 700-800 people all got that lovely notice going on, and that was awesome. And after that we after that we got up, we ate some breakfast, and then went on to go out and take a unit to the range and work with them for their qual, which I am proud to say we had a 100% qualification rate on all their personal weapons. So that was a solid day. Everyone got qualified and they all did it in one day. So even better. And at the end of the day, we had a little bit of time and some open ammo. So I got to do a little shooting demonstration for some soldiers with a saw. And apparently one of them went, "That's not fair." Because he didn't realize that because I am a slightly larger than normal human, like, oh no, I can just run this thing with one hand while I, rip magazines into it and out of it and charge it. And then keep shooting. And I shot the qualification course of fire standing freehand and qualified that way. He went, "It's just not fair that you can do that." And I was like, well, see, if you would listen to your parents, and ate your meat
Yeah.
and not drank coffee, you too could have grown up big and strong.
I blame my parents for that. That whole saying, clean your plate. Okay, look at me now, mom and dad. I have a problem. It's called I'm a hefty boy now.
Yes. Those things happen to the best of us.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yep.
I guess
No,
I go through life fat and happy. It's fine, whatever.
we did that. Had 2 days on the range. 1 day shooting M16s and saws, and then the next day we were shooting 240s and Madus decals, and that's just a good time.
So, needless to say, you as the training officer is paying off because everyone called the first time around, and that's a nice little pat on your back. Even though you're not going to do it, I can do it for you.
Well, it's kind of what our section. That's what we keep telling everybody is anytime we go to the range, it's 100% qual.
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, well, it's we don't paper whip anything, we don't do anything like that. We just work with people and get everyone qualified. And we have yet to fail at that mission, and that is something I am proud of. So
I would be too, man. That's an accomplishment,
But nope. So I did that. I was off traveling, doing gun stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really kind of what I do. I travel around and do gun stuff anymore, I think.
Yeah, that's what you do. And I have yet to do gun stuff. And here I sit as the host of a show where we talk about gun stuff. I'm failing at my job.
That's not really quite true. You did some gun stuff last week. I don't think we talked about it on the show. Did we talk about your Glock Tendo?
No, we talked about the Glock Tendo. And so I can report to everyone that I did buy this month's gun of the month. I went and got myself a Kel-Tec Sub 2000 Gen 3, and I'm probably gonna. I can't decide if I'm gonna have this one Cerakoted or not. I kind of want to, because stupid reasons. I'm having my Smith & Wesson 929 done up right now in a pretty sweet red, white, and blue American flag with a eagle on it, and gonna challenge our buddy Cody to make that happen. So when that gets done, that's gonna be a wicked sweet gun that I can take last place in the revolver category again this year.
I was thinking about this because somebody commented on the photo you put up. They commented on that on Facebook, and they said, "Are you going to do like red anodized for your PCC?" And well, I understand the Glock Tendo, the OG Nintendo Zapper.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Super Nintendo Super Scope?
Yes. I never owned one. So I never owned the Nintendo. I had to go to my buddy's house to play it. So I never,
Yep.
It wasn't my core memory.
Yeah. I remember seeing them because I never had one. But I remember because it was like a bazooka.
Mm-hmm.
But you could still emulate that across pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Into your PCC.
Oh, there's a few ideas I have rolling around in my head, but that stuff gets expensive after a minute. Because yeah, I think I put, and I'm not saying with his prices were unfair by any means. I put $370 into that gun, and it looks fantastic. And I'm gonna do it again because they look super cool. But eventually someday I should stop customizing guns and start buying guns again. I mean, again, I picked up a Sub 2000. It was on the cheap, so.
Well, you know a guy, so that's all.
Exactly. I'm trying to be subtle without saying it. I know a guy. So.
Yes, indeed. No, let's see. No, other than that, I plan on trying to do some gun stuff tomorrow as well. But I know that I have nothing but gun stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, You could be doing gun stuff for the next 3 days starting tomorrow. And hopefully I get to join you in at least one of those days.
Yeah, and and see Next weekend I have an odd gun stuff deal that I'm kind of excited. Like, I don't one of those like you may be asking yourself how I found myself here situations.
Yeah.
Uh, I I guess I'm hired. I don't know if that's the right word. That I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork. Apparently, they're going to pay me to be a RSO for the 4-H state match.
Voluntold, that's the word you want to
Yeah,
use.
it's hey, we could really use you, and I am going to work with some kids on something where luckily I don't have to coach them. Like I'm just going to run the clock and do some commands.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll get to be a part of the air rifle and air pistol state championship.
Oh, they do air pistol too?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. That'd be cool.
yeah. So nope, they do air pistol and air rifle all as part of 4-H shooting sports, and they actually even do a silhouette where it goes out to 18 meters, starting at 10. But they
Nice.
do and it's shooting little steel knockover targets that are tiny, and
yeah, that BB gun has changed so much from when I got to do it because we just had rifle, and it was just shooting cardboard. That's like it. It has advanced a lot.
yeah, especially in our area. And 4-H shooting sports is great because it does get kids involved and kind of starts that love of shooting.
Even though it's a bad technique.
It is a different game than what I use. And I've said that before. Remember, when you're playing this game, you shoot like this, and everyone looks at me really weird because I'm like, no, this is a game.
Yep, I get it.
We use vastly different techniques for shooting different styles, and that is okay, but it's still, hey, yeah, this is what I use for this game. When we go shoot USPSA, we're going to shoot entirely different.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, yeah, we have a match coming up in 2 days that I know neither one of us are going to be able to attend. So that's kind of a bummer.
Well, you have a higher chance than I do.
I have a 0% chance of going to that on Saturday. I know that right now.
Well, that is fair.
So I'm not heartbroken. There's going to be 10 more matches this year yet, and I'll probably make 4 of them if I'm lucky. So,
yep. But no, with that, I will be off teaching again this weekend, and I think pretty much almost every weekend for the next month I will be teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, either guard or personal. Yeah, so yeah, you're set, man.
Yeah, but with that, I'll be out teaching and doing some training classes. And you and I had talked about this, and it came down to a question that we had a listener send in.
Mm-hmm.
That after I got it, I we talked about it. I talked to the listener, and you and I talked about it. We said, that'd be a good show topic. And it's don't be the reason for the safety brief.
Yeah.
Yep. So what we're talking about is there's a lot of different ways, when you're looking at training, because we preach training, and we preach training really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you and I both do, not just because we are firearms instructors, but because everyone should go out and get some form of training, no matter what.
Correct. Yeah, if you're not training and being a responsible gun owner, then someday you might be a statistic in a bad light.
Yeah. And in having that, I have seen a lot of things over my course of training people that have been. There's only been one or two things that have made me remove people from ranges, but there have been a couple. And the incident this listener was talking about was he was taking a pistol class and was like kind of all the way on one end, and the guy next to him, they're drawn from the holster and doing this. And he's like, I just wanted a basic pistol mechanics class. But when the guy next to him would draw, he said he had a cross draw holster, so he would reach across his body, draw, and then he always had his finger on the trigger, and then it would sweep him as he drew. So he asked the guy, like, hey, I am all the way on the end. Would you want to trade spots with me? And the guy didn't want to and kind of threw a fit about it. Was like, quit being a baby. And then he did it again, and he told the instructor about it, and the instructor said, oh, all right, yep, and talked to him, and then was like, oh, no, everything's fine. Like, I checked it out. They've been doing this for a long time. He's safe.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it again, and but he said, all right, that's it, and then walked back, picked up his stuff, and just walked out of the class. And I said, that is 100% the right thing to do.
Yeah. No one likes getting a gun pointed at them. It's not something I cherish and not something I want to see. I've been nervous a few times when we've taught classes just because it's hard. You don't know what people are capable of, their skill set when they're at a class. Everyone, says they grew up around firearms and stuff, but man, when you get people that you don't really have a personal relationship with, you never know what you're going to get.
I am probably exceedingly calm when I get guns pointed at me, because it happens far more often than I'd probably like to admit.
I haven't had that happen yet when we've been teaching classes. I've just seen some safety issues, and I've caught people and corrected them. And you can always tell the people that are genuine and they want to learn, and you can always tell the guys who are like, ha, screw you.
Yeah, I have more than once had a loaded gun pointed at me. And it's one of those, like, I've handled it. I think you've seen me handle it before.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, we're just not going to point that at me. And, keep going on through things, because especially working with a new shooter, I'm a little bit more delicate than I am with other people. Because there's other people where I will, like, use my big boy voice. And,
yeah.
And then everyone knows what happened. But it's in a situation like that where if you're ever at a training course, and this is like my public service announcement. If you are ever at a public or at a safety course, or not a safety course, a training course in general, and you see something that's like horrendously unsafe, or if you just don't feel safe in general because somebody keeps pointing a gun at you, say something. 1,000% bring it up. Because one, the instructor might not be watching you because you might be working with someone else, and people miss things. It happens. It's happened to me. But the other part of that is, if you mention it and they don't correct it, then leave.
Yeah. I'd rather see people's feelings get hurt than someone actually get hurt because of a accidental discharge or something of that nature. Like we said, guns aren't toys. Guns, when you're out training, you're there to learn. You're there to correct flaws. And if you aren't able to take constructive criticism or be able to give it to someone, remove yourself from the situation, because it's not worth dying over because someone is cross drawing their weapon with their finger on the trigger. It's and like you said, the guy in the situation claimed he had it under control, but you know what? I'm not going to put my life in someone else's hands because they say they know what they're doing.
Well, and this guy, this gentleman said that he just walked back, quietly packed up his stuff, and left.
Yeah, and that's absolutely 100% fine. There's no need to cause a scene or anything like that, because at that point, it's just going to make the situation worse. Just get out of there.
Oh, 100%. Now, I also know what you or I would have done had that happened, and there
Mm-hmm.
would have been a scene caused.
Mm-hmm. It's not that I like to cause a scene, but sometimes scenes are necessary.
It's not that he likes to cause a scene, it's that he's
But
just so good at it.
yeah. Hey, don't stir that pot over there. What do you mean stirring this pot over here?
Like at that point, it would have been pictures taken and take out a full page ad in the paper. But
Yeah.
uh, no, those things. So Garth, what are red flags for you if you were at a class and saw something that would make you leave?
Okay, well, this one's never happened to me. It's a video that's been floating around on the internet for a while, and I can't believe this actually happened. It's I'm not sure exactly where the setting is, but there is a instructor that is running in front of people as they're shooting, and they're supposed to have awareness to where he's at, and then so they're firing down range, and when he steps in front of them, they go back to low ready, and then continue firing as he's running across the line. If you guys ever encounter that as a training seminar, leave. That guy has no idea what he's doing. But as far as what we go through, and this is one of the things I'm super glad about how we teach our class, we don't teach holster draw. We have advanced classes that we could do that from, but in
Well, say,
our
they're I do, but not at our enhanced
yeah,
class.
not at our enhanced class. Exactly.
Well, in our enhanced class is the South Dakota Concealed Carry class, so it's not enhanced as in like, oh, you're learning enhanced tactic. It's
Yeah,
an enhanced understanding of the law.
correct. And so when we do our shooting qualifications, I've had more than one person go, "Well, I've got my holster on. Can we do that?" Guys, to keep us safe today, we're just going to do a low ready position. And I've had people upset at me for that. But at the same time, I'm not going to take that chance because, just like you said, when you're out there and you're flagging people and your muzzle control isn't there after we've breached it for 4 hours, I can't stress that enough. The four rules of gun safety, man, if people are not following those, I have a very hard time because I've broken them in the past. And I know from personal experience that can be a very bad situation. So,
Yep. Well, there's one of the other things is I have a very specific list of requirements when it comes to holsters
mm-hmm.
that you are allowed to draw from in my class. And if your holster has a name from like Uncle Mike or is nylon,
Yeah.
not glass filled nylon, but like floppy nylon,
Mm-hmm.
or is like from another company called like Versacarry.
Leather or bulldog for nylons. Yep.
You're not going to have a good day at my course.
No.
Now, Thomas says Serpa. Well, I am not a huge fan of Serpa holsters. I have had to teach hundreds of classes with them because that is what the Army uses,
Mm-hmm.
or well, used to. They have since switched to Safari Lands for the M17s now, which was a definite step up from the Serpa.
Mm-hmm.
But I have taught a lot of classes using that, and you can effectively draw with the Serpa, but I would rather see a lot of other things before a Serpa. Like that is a step up from your Uncle Mike's, but you should buy a holster specific to your gun.
Yeah. And I realize that right now, what the class we teach is a concealment class. It's, it is. And so a lot of people want to have that understanding. So they think that that's what we're going to teach. But again, like you said, we're there to teach the laws and stuff like that with a shooting requirement at the end of it. Sticky holsters are another one, man. I'm just thinking off the top of my head now. that's not what we're about in that specific class. But yeah, it just makes me nervous because again, I don't know where everyone's coming from as far as their background with guns.
Yep. Well,
And
and that class has a lot of, hey, I'm new to this. I want to learn the law.
yeah, and that's fine. And I love that we get to actually teach fundamentals of shooting, stances, grip, and
Yep.
sight picture.
And you know, the pistol 2 class pistol 1 and pistol 2 that we're opening up this summer
Mhm.
are going to be all from the holster
Yeah.
and working on that draw and those types of things, as well as the carbine courses. But that's a whole nother kettle of fish. So
What about you, Nick? What's one of the things that kind of irks you or gets your high tensions?
so honestly, if in the first 5 minutes of a course, I like if you show up and you get the opening and the instructor does his like, hey, this is me. I'm a guy. I did some things. I'm here to teach this. If they don't mention safety and or medical
Yeah.
right away, like this is specifically to a range, and like start discussing, hey, in the event that something happens, like what are we gonna do for medical, and like those types of things. That's a big red flag to me.
Hmm. I like that. Um, One of them, and this is something you and I both experience as well as teaching in classes. Again, I'm going to bring it back because of the type of class that we've been teaching so far is the concealment class. A lot of people don't bring, I guess, the right gun for them. They'll be shooting 5-shot 38 special, or some hand cannon 6-shot revolver that after 100 rounds, your wrist is going to hurt in a major way.
Yeah, and shooting those little guns is fine, but that's a pistol class. Like bringing the right gun. If you want to shoot that wheel gun, by all means.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm also going to tell you this: if you're ever at a gun shop and you hear someone try and sell a revolver to a woman because it's simpler,
Or it's pink.
just like this is not legal advice. Reach across and slap the gun store clerk and be like, this is where I wish I had the squirt bottle like a dog and just squirt him in the face. Like, no, dumb. And well, what? It's like there are far better options than this hand cannon.
Hmm.
But no, I I will say that if you're going to a carbine class and they don't tell you to bring a sling, that is a major thing for me. Uh, like, yep, we can work on zeroing, we can work on zero theory, we can move stuff around, like we can get everything sighted in. But if you're doing rifle work other than like PRS stuff, like if you're not doing a big long range class, and if they don't tell you, hey, you need a sling, then
Hmm.
then you definitely are in the wrong spot, because if you're taking a carbine class, you're going to need a sling. Period. Dot. Because a
Yeah.
sling is a holster for a rifle.
Yep. I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to be just setting your gun down in the dirt. Some places do have stands, but in a situation when you're on the line, you don't want to be running back and forth to set your rifle down every time an instructor walks up and tries to speak to you. So a sling is a must in those type of classes.
Well, and like I have some fairly lightweight rifles and things of that nature, and or lightweight ARs, I will say, and I don't want to just hold one in my hands for like 6 hours.
No, not at all. Uh, no matter what you do, if it's enough repetitions, you get tired after a while, and holding a loaded firearm that long is can be strenuous on you.
Well, and slings do add an element of control where it's like, okay, hey guys, put them on the slings, let them hang. I want to see your hands
Hmm.
because then there's no fingers at triggers.
Yes,
Like
that
safe and hang, and then you can step in front and talk to everybody. You still keep control of everything, but you're not running around going like, oh yeah, like I can just hold this all day.
yeah.
Like I bet I could get us kicked off YouTube if I
Well,
well, I
then we
can't.
lose all of our watching
Oh,
audience right now.
yeah, I know it's everyone hears from YouTube, and I could get us kicked off YouTube, but I won't today. But no, so that's it. When you're looking at stuff and they have sign up, like if they don't list what they're covering, like, oh hey, we're going to cover this stuff, and have a basic equipment list,
Hmm.
then those are the major those are major red flags.
Yeah. Uh, Round count is one of them. I know you and I always look for round counts and stuff. And of course, they say, well, you guys can bring extra, because if the class does go well, there might be time for extracurricular activities after the class.
Or well, I've been to a couple. Like one of the best pistol classes I went to, they didn't give a round count.
Yeah.
Other than they're like, you're going to shoot a minimum of this.
Well, yeah, minimum's fine because every time you and I have went to a class, I know we've taken extra than minimum.
Well, it's like you go to a class like, all right, you're going to shoot a minimum of 150 rounds. And then it's like, hey, no, you're going to shoot till the threat stops. I don't care if that's 1 shot, 2 shots, 10 shots. It's up to you.
Yep.
And like that allows you to get allows you to get a little bit of independence into your drills.
Hmm.
But no, those things are great. Like I do like looking for that. But yeah, I've been to classes and I've been places where I'm just like, nope, this guy doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So
God, we'll just leave that there.
and it's not because of how like he leaned in close to me or anything like that.
Whispered sweet nothings in your ears you were shooting.
Yeah, like that actually really helps me tighten my groups up. But no, so but no, and if an instructor ever tries to be like Billy Badass because you brought up a safety aspect and doesn't address it immediately, then leave.
Yeah. That you can't ask enough questions on the range. That's the whole purpose of you being there is to learn. And if you are not learning from your time at a training course or seminar, it's a wasted day in my point. I mean, every time Nick and I go to a training event, even if it's one thing, we try to take one positive thing away from those courses because you can look for them and you can find as many bad things as you want. But even your worst course, you can still take something good away.
Oh, I do every time because it might be like, hey, I will never include this into a class.
Yeah. It might just be that. It might be, well, not doing it that way, but
Yep. But no, there are a lot of things, and of course, techniques change, and you'll find instructors that are still doing old tactics or old techniques. You'll find people that are adopting the latest, really cool guy stuff. You'll find people that are a mix in between.
mm-hmm.
You will find someone that, like, if this is ultraviolence Mike watching, he may have once watched me. I believe the word they used was devolve through a course of fire because I was quite literally shooting and like started as like picture perfect, like, Costa, like C clamp out shooting awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And as this course of fire went on, you saw all those old like GWAT baby training scars pop up. And started out here like we're going and we're shooting and we're smoking targets and we're doing good and finding cover and we're shooting around stuff. And people are yelling at me and I'm doing all the right things. And then as I kept pulling mags out and shooting, you just watched me like somewhere at like mag 2, I did a movement for cover and my brain switched off and I went back to that like, okay, grabbing the mag well, elbows locked in, and I'm leaning around in straight up 2004 tactics. And everyone made fun of me because I devolved in front of their eyes. They're like, that was amazing.
And to kind of piggyback on that, Nick, it's not to say that when you guys go to these training courses that their word is gold. I mean, obviously, you're going to pick up new skills that you're going to want to go home and practice with, but don't feel bad if it just doesn't work for you. That's the beauty of going to all these different training seminars and stuff. Is take what works for you and evolve it into your shooting style, but don't try to. There's a specific way Nick shoots, and there's a specific way I shoot. And while it works, it might work for Nick in some stances. Definitely will not work for me. And so just don't feel like you go to one training seminar and then all of a sudden, nope, that's how I have to shoot. If you like that style, absolutely try to adapt it, but don't force yourself because that's how dumb things happen as well.
Yep, and there are things where walk into a training course with an open mind.
Yes,
because I know that like when I took you to one, Garth, or I drug you with, somebody said something to you and you went, oh wow, because it was about like how to pivot when you're shooting.
Yep.
Like moving your knees instead of twisting your body, and you went, oh, I'd never even thought of that.
Yeah, a light bulb clicked on. There's been a few times where we've been to different, and you've been preaching them for years, and we've been buddies for a while, and I was like, whatever, dude. And then I heard it from someone else, and I went, damn, that's the same thing Nick's been saying, but I finally heard it right.
It's not just my buddies sitting there going, hey, you need to do this.
Yeah, exactly. It's no, okay, well, all right, yeah, I get it now.
Yep, but so we've been talking all this training, and I know that we're talking about like safety and live fire.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other training methods, Garth, that you use that maybe are safe or you use when you can't get to the range?
Well, I know a lot of guys do the dry fire stuff, and I don't have a system per se. I've used a few of yours, and I've looked into a few different training systems as well. I really do like the there's the Mantis that Nick has there. I really like the laser bullet that you can get on Amazon for like $40 just to have trigger reset. You got to reset the trigger every time, and then you get your trigger presses to see where you're hitting. Those are really cool techniques. I know there's a few other ones that we've seen at SHOT Show over the years. The dry fire mag guys, I really like their setup. We got to do a VR one this year, and man, how VR has come such a long way, and I would really like to get that system. If any guys want to know about it, I can definitely write something in the Facebook comments about it. It's expensive. It's a $600 subscription per year on top of the system, but it's also like a national wide. You can compete against other people, so it's basically USPSA in your living room, which is cool.
Yep, and like I know it's been talked about before, and there's some things where they have like weird grips and stuff like that for the controllers that make them kind of like guns.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit better. But the only thing that would make that better is if they were made by VZ grips. And VZ grips are great because they're machined from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. 17-degree grip angle and a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options and shorty options are available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. You can get them for CZs, my beloved Berettas, and even some revolvers. So this coupon code is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
So what else, Nick? What other great training tools do you like? I know you've got several different systems.
I do. I have I buy things and try them out
Yeah.
because like so other people won't have to, I guess.
Yep.
Like the sad thing is I should really like request people to send me stuff so I don't just pay for it. But it's what I do. Uh so obviously I showed the Mantis earlier. Uh I really, really like the Mantis system for an AR.
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculously simple. It's literally pop the pin out, pull your bolt and charging handle out, drop the laser module in, and then put the mag in. That is the battery. It'll reset the trigger, everything will fire, and you're using your trigger, and it works amazing. Um, that's for the rifle. I have an older version as well. That so I actually have two of these, so we could run the Mantis, and I have a CERT bolt.
Mm-hmm.
So CERT is from Next Level Training, and I don't believe they make the CERT bolt anymore. But it was a bolt that went in, ran on its own battery, and replaced the bolt in an AR, and then had a trigger dingus that went down to reset the trigger. So you'd use your trigger again, and it was self resetting more or less,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, okay, like it wasn't quite as good as what the Mantis does,
Yeah.
but it did work, and so I used that extensively for a while. I have the Laser app, LASR, and you can use that with a webcam or cell phone and tablet. And the cool thing about that is you can actually network them together
Yeah.
and set up like a shoot house in your house with a laser gun. And or like we did a dart tournament once with it with my dartboard targets, and just set the computer up there and had it was like, okay, you have like set a par timer up, and you would draw and fire 3 shots and
Mm-hmm.
then calculate the score like darts. And that was just one of those like, yeah, it was fun and it was messing around, but it also worked on the fundamentals.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that was using a CERT pistol, and like I've used those. Even like you said, just dry fire. I do a ton of dry fire. Like I know that people have seen. Well, some of our friends have seen like my daughter coming out because she's going to shoot USPSA with us this year,
Mm-hmm.
and like we have stood in the living room and done ready ups for 10 minutes,
Yep.
and just pulling up, getting a sight picture, then touching the trigger, and just doing that over and over.
Yeah.
And that is those are training things that I do, and that aren't shooting.
Drawing from a holster in your living room with an unloaded magazine is a lot safer. So you know what it's that muscle memory, quote unquote, that word everyone hates in the gun industry, the muscle memory of just repetitions. And even the old quarter on the slide trick when pulling the trigger just to see where your trigger press is at and if it slides or if it jumps.
Well, I even transitioned that to rifle. Like
Mm-hmm.
straight up, we will stand there with our rifles and watch TV and do ready ups, where we pull up and sight on a target and then back down, to hanging in front of you.
Yep.
And like I practice my dry fire with rifles and handguns, and that is a thing I do.
Nope. That I dig it.
Like I'm sure we look like crazy people, but
Well, I mean, you're in the privacy of your home. Who cares?
yeah, I mean everyone plays video games wearing their helmet, right?
Yeah, I seen that the other day. So actually, Nick, I'm gonna jump back into the comments here. We had a question about 20 minutes ago. Sonar wanted to know what some of our favorite holster brands are.
So some of our favorite holster brands. Oh man, I've got a lot. Like, I hate to say I have a lot
Mhm.
because I really recommend like 4,
Yeah.
but one that Thomas says here, Black Rhino concealment. Uh, that is what I actually have on my competition rig right now.
Mhm.
The cool thing about these guys, Black Rhino concealment, super cool dudes. I've met them. They're good people, and they will print whatever you want on a
Yeah.
holster. So, like, if you wanted a picture of Garth's face on a holster,
This one.
they could do that, 100%. I have our the show logo on a holster, and I shoot with that. I really like Black Rhino concealment for those.
Yeah, one of my favorite brands, and just because I like the thickness, the durability of it, I guess. I like CopTech. I've owned several of those holsters, and again, they can. I mean, they have pretty much every brand out there available, and I think they're at a reasonable price. And
Yep,
I use them
and
for my competition holsters.
see, and for almost all of my, it's like I have some Blade Tech and Comtech holsters as well.
Mhm.
Um, I have a lot of Black Rifle concealment or Black Rhino concealment,
Yeah,
and then the other one, like the one that I actually probably use the most, is G Code.
yeah. I do not have a G code holster yet. I'm dumb. I find something I like, and I don't like to switch out because I know if I like that brand of holster, I will buy 8.
Well, and the good thing is with so the reason why I run all G Code is because I like the RTI hanger system,
Yep.
and I think it is far superior to the Safariland QLS fork because it's metal
Hmm.
and doesn't stick out way further.
Yeah.
And let's go hunt. The correct thing for that is a tactical banana hammock, and so because the G
Ne-
string is on a guitar.
yeah. Never shove the gun down the tactical hammock after you've been shooting.
That's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
But with that, I do really like the G code, and they do sell these adapters that if you made the switch to the G code setup, will work on your Comtex.
Yeah, and that is correct. And I know that. I see what I end up doing is instead of buying the holsters to switch out, I just keep buying battle belts. So I just grab the new belt instead.
Uh, yep, and I just run like one belt and keep popping guns on and off of it.
Yep. And well now I've got 3 different guns because I got 3 different holsters, and I've got the Glock Tendo and the Platypus and my X Legion, and yeah.
Yep. So those are, and then yeah, those are the holsters that I recommend for outside the waist belt, and if you have to have a retention system, Safariland.
Hmm.
I do own, like, I like the hoods. I get the hoods. I understand they're slow. Uh, I run the the Safariland ALS system with just the thumb that you pull back and draw. I really like that. That's what I have,
Hmm.
and that is also what I kind of have to use for some of the things I do.
Yep.
So having the capability to run that setup is a good thing for me. But those are what I still run. And then as far as rifle holsters, um, unfortunately, I still haven't got this mounted to my battle belt to test it because I've barely done any rifle work. I've been doing like everything but that.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm right there with you.
And but our friends over at Flatline Fiber Co. do make probably the best slings in the planet.
They're comfortable, hands down. They're just comfortable.
And yeah, they're my favorite slings. I have all of the other ones. Like I know if I look over here, I've got a Magpul, something 4, whatever, and it's a nice sling. I have no issues with it, but I like the flatline fibers more.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Garth? You got anything else that you want to add for training stuff tonight?
Yeah, I was diving through it, just off the top of my head, yeah, I guess one of them is just make sure your weapons are maintained and cleaned. When you go out to the range, I know it seems like we have always that one person that hasn't busted out their firearm in 5 years. So just make sure your weapons are maintained and properly maintenance, because that's when accidents can happen. Make sure you are using proper ammunition for that firearm. Make sure you know how to function that firearm. I watched a man once load a 10-round magazine of 22 LR into a Mark III backwards.
Yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, just yeah.
I remember who had to take that apart and get it fixed, get it out.
I do too. In negative 11-degree weather.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah. So just have a basic understanding of your firearm, because if you do and someone's struggling, and the RO is off elsewhere helping other people, it's okay to jump in, not take over, but it's okay to jump in and give friendly sound advice.
Hey man, just here to help.
Yeah.
So I think that about clears it up for tonight. Do you have anything else to add, Garth?
I do. They should check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co, for all your mouse pad and cleaning pad needs, for all your morale patches and pop culture patches, your patch of the month club, guys. If you sign up for the patch of the month club, you get a awesome patch and sticker in the mail once a month. They're pretty exclusive. So go ahead and join that today and support Jake over at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
Yes. And, guys, this is now we've done that. We've talked about our sponsors, the good people, everything like that. Now sit back and listen to the dulcet tones of my voice as I get on a soapbox.
Here it comes. Because
training is important. Training is incredibly important, and not just firearms training. You should also go out and get medical training. So the day this is recorded, we're recording on April 18th, and there was an interesting thing that happened yesterday in the United States of America, where there was it 4 or 5 states 911 systems were completely down. And you are your own first responder.
Correct.
Like that's the way it is. You are your own first responder. You need to take care to get the training to make sure that you and your family are taken care of. That is your responsibility and no one else's. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
Man, you were in it. You were staring right at the camera. Even you were talking into my soul.
Yes, it is your responsibility, not your neighbors, not anyone else's. Expect to self-rescue. We have odd days happening all around us. The world's a really weird place. What you need to do is realize you should take the time to get training, get adequate with your skills, and maybe go for a walk, because you are your own first responder.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely. Just be prepared for any situation, guys, and have the necessary items to do that. Go check out some of our affiliates. We have a MyMedic. We also have the boys over at We Like Shooting, who have a good plethora of medical gear and knowledge, and they are selling it. And man, yes, be prepared, be trained, and then have the proper supplies to handle the situation.
Yes. Have the tools to save yourself.
Yes.
All right. Well, Garth, you got anything else to add tonight before we shut her down for the night?
No, man, it's been fun talking to you about, me. Because I almost was a safety brief once, so I hold this topic near and dear to my heart, and I'm not going to let the fine folks know about that because no.
You have to come to a class to hear that story.
You do have to come to a class to hear that. That's how you get to hear that story. Come to our class.
Yep. So, all right. Well, you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube, AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter, AR-15 Podcast on Facebook, and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.